Have you been immersed in a game so much that you completely ignore the noise coming from roads, that you don't feel any hunger and thirst, that you completely forgot 4 hours have passed, it's 2 am, you are way past your bedtime, but you can't just let go of the game? I have, and I'm sure most of you did. Hello everyone, I'm CheesePizza. I'm a game designer, and my goal is to make video games a mainstream entertainment medium. And today, we are talking about immersion in video games. So, what exactly is immersion? If you see the definition, immersion is being completely involved in something. Now, being involved in something can be by many methods: being physically involved, being mentally involved, or both. When you talk about immersion in games, it means being mentally involved in the game where you may or may not forget your life for a moment and start mentally living in the game world. Does that mean mimicking real world conditions as much as possible will give you immersion? Certainly not. There are many games out there that offer immersion to the players in many different ways. Stardew Valley, being a 2D pixel graphic game, offers players a lot of immersion through its realistic day and night cycle, meaningful interactions, changes in the world from your decisions. That tells us the key to achieve immersion is not graphics nor any specific game design. Let's look at a few games and see how they create immersion. We are going to start it off with Metro Exodus. Metro Exodus was one of the most immersive games I have played. I have talked in brief about it in my previous video. Metro Exodus follows a simple formula: never take the user out of the game. How can someone do that, you ask? Metro Exodus's map system is dynamic and is a world space UI, as well as real-time mechanic, which basically means that Artyom actually puts out map in his hands and checks the location. The map also gives players a limited amount of information like its current location, the general direction to go in, and the details of explored map. If you want to check your objectives, Artyom simply turns over the board and your objectives are written on a notepad. What this simple mechanic does is makes the players responsible for even an action like looking at map, and instead of blindly following the objective to the map, players will have to carefully scope out the area and plan their next move. In previous games from Metro series, the progression was all linear, where player goes through some predefined areas. Metro Exodus slightly expanded on that while keeping originality. Player is riding on a train which takes you to big chunks of free roam areas throughout the game. There is dried Mediterranean Sea, then there is mushy rainforest, and then there is dead radiation zone. While you may not visit previous location or previous area, the missions you have in the current area can be done on your own and by your own choice. This also gives players a lot of control over their actions and unlocks a lot of possibilities in the playthrough. Metro Exodus's crafting system is also a similar one. If in a fight, player finds the need to craft anything, you have to pull out your bag and craft it on the go while the world around you is still reacting. Players also have to maintain their weapon, charge their batteries, pump air in their pneumatic weapons throughout the fight. That also keeps players always conscious about the surroundings and make important decisions. In condition of not doing these actions, players only receive a minor setback in a fight, making the mechanic tolerable and not annoying. Metro Exodus narrates his storyline so well that you will feel lonely, you will feel afraid, and you might feel that you want to give up. Next game on the list is Baldurs Gate 3. I was talking a lot about responsibilities before. This game takes it to the highest level. In this game, every smallest action you take has consequences, whether they are making a wrong move in combat or just simply talking to a frog. Immersion in Baldur's Gate is achieved by some of these many things. Baldur's Gate 3 gives players a solid advantage or disadvantage depending on their actions and permanently changes the story of their game. It also gives the ability to do any action doable, like selling something to a vendor, then stealing it back, then getting caught stealing and have to run away or quick load the game. It follows all the principles of a D&D game and makes it better. Players are given full freedom to structure their characters however they like and whenever they want. This amount of freedom given directly helps in immersion as the player resonates with the character they made themselves. Players also witness deep connections via many interactions with their companions as well as NPCs in the game. The decisions you take not only affects your own story but also changes opinions of other companions about you. This game is a good example of how a turn-based RPG can be immersive beyond normal limits. The next one we'll be looking at is Red Dead Redemption 2. This game does immersion by mimicking real-life scenarios, and it does that very well. In many normal games, the world kind of revolves around your action. You are the catalyst that sets things in motion in the world. But RDR2 does it differently. No matter what you do, the surroundings always have something to do, and they're not stopping for you. When interacting with people, you see one of the most organic conversations that feel very polished and thought out, and not some default dialogues. When you pass by this forest in the game, you can see these father and sons building their house, and when sometimes in future you return, you can see the house being fully built. A bit of spoiler alert. Another example is when you donate money to this building's construction while playing as Arthur. You can see the finished building and Arthur's name on it when playing as John. The RDR2 has honor mechanic, where it's not tied to any law in the country, but it's tied to your character's mindset. Honor mechanic keeps tabs on your every good and bad deed that can make you a good or bad person in your own mind. RDR2 does immersion through attention to details. When you use your weapons, you will have to repair them or polish them to keep them working. You will have to regularly brush and feed your horse to keep its stamina up. Your clothes get bloody when handling a dead body. You can see the entire hide of an animal in perfect natural shape while skinning it, and the list will go on. That tells us how a cinematic game can achieve immersion. Now let's head back to GTA 5 and compare it to RDR2. Would you go on a killing rampage in RDR2 as you would in GTA? You wouldn't, right? Reasons being, you won't get away with it, and somehow it feels very wrong to finish innocent civilians who did nothing wrong to you. So now that we have established casually finishing off people in GTA 5, let's go to the final mission in GTA, where you have to take a choice between finishing Trevor, Michael, or taking a Deathwish. For those of you who chose other than Deathwish, why was it so hard to finish either of the characters? Why do you feel bad after doing so, even though it was just another character in the game? It was because the character was influential to you. It was because the character has some connect with you. Not only that the character you chose to finish is dead permanently, but you also can't use that character again in the game. Things like that make the experience more immersive, as you have to think before taking any actions. Now if you want to make a pre-existing game more immersive for yourself, how can you do that? Well, here are some very simple solutions. First thing is, limit the info you are receiving directly from the game. Info can mean anything. It can mean your minimap, it can mean your quest markers, it can mean on-screen objectives, even some direct assist in the game. Disabling this will make sure the exploration part of a game is a bit difficult, but if you are in for a ride, it would make this simple change much more immersive. You have to remember many little features on the map as you go, and that will also help you appreciate the little details devs put in to enjoy the game more. Some games help players achieve this by simple ways. RDR2 allows the player to modify their minimap into multiple options on the go, without going deeper into the menus. It also gives you an option to make minimap into a compass that simply points in the direction of the objective. You can also turn off the minimap to give yourself the best natural experience. Elden Ring does this way better, where it will never give you a minimap but will let you see an overhead compass, just let you keep track of which direction you are going into. The custom marker in Elden Ring is also very good because it appears directly in the world as a blue light. Players can take that as a reference and follow it. Final Fantasy VII Remake also does similar, where it allows players to change the HUD configuration with a single button depending on the situation, where players can turn off the HUD or expand and more, similar to RDR2. Next thing is, try to simulate real life mechanics as much as possible. Now this one here will be very difficult mechanic if you play shoot 'em up or parody games. But by simulating a real life mechanic, I mean try not breaking the rules too much. Many games offer this solution as a mechanic in the game, and it of course adds to the immersion. Whatever solutions you try to implement, if a game is not made to be immersive, you can't never make it immersive. Now before going, I'm gonna use the solutions on myself and see if it adds to the immersion or not. Okay, moving on to the unscripted part of the video. Well, before starting, so in a gameplay there are mainly two types. Then there is an exploration and then there is combat. Now in combat, I know you need a lot of details to be on your HUD because you need a lot of details to be on your map to see how many enemies are there, what is the area, and where is your mission objective and things like that. So for that you will need the HUD objectives. If you can like try to play the game without using HUD, and do combat, you can do it, but it will be very difficult for you. But exploration on the other side, it is very organic and it doesn't punish the player to like not do it most efficiently. You can try to play around. Don't look into the HUD, don't look into the mission objectives, don't open the map often, and well, try to have fun like you would in real life. So what we're gonna do now is start off with Red Dead Redemption 2. So we're at this beautiful lake and we're gonna try to go to our camp, that is Horseshoe Overlook, which is near Valentine, without looking at anything in the map. I started off great, and when I was coming at this location, I had a good look around the area and had a general idea of in which direction I have to go. Now if in normal conditions, I would be following a minimap and that red track on the minimap, and I would be like running straight, very focused, not looking at anything other than the road and the objective, and I would straight go to the Horseshoe Overlook, which would be allegedly the most efficient way or the quickest way to go to the objective marker. But again, that's not the point, right? That's not the point. When you play a game, it's not the point to just finish it. It's the point to enjoy the game while playing it. And well, when I was going like without seeing the map objective or where I had to go, I had a lot of organic interactions with people. And I'm sure if I would like use the marker, use the objective, I wouldn't have that anyways. And when I was exploring without any map, I also found out that Red Dead Redemption 2 gives you a lot of clues about the map without it being in the map scene itself. So you can see these big post signs which direct you to the locations, and they do it very clearly. It also gives you notifications on which area you are, like that Emerald Ranch local location. Then there is time, then there is temperature, and a lot of things. And they don't stay at your HUD always, right? They just come and they just go. So now you know which general direction you are. And if you look very carefully, you can see some smokes coming in this area, and well, that basically tells you that there is something interesting going on in there. They are basically the points of interest, but instead of being it on the map itself, they are in the real world, and you can try and go there and see what is going on, which obviously introduces organic interactions in the game. And with some detours and with some being lost in the space, I eventually reached my location, my destination. Yep, now moving on to Witcher 3. We are currently at Corvo Vineyard, which is located in Duchy of Toussaint, the most beautiful place in Witcher 3 or even any Witcher game. Now Witcher 3 being an RPG gives you a lot of information on your map. If you talk about basic information on your map, you have a health bar, you have a stamina bar, you have a toxicity bar, you have a huge mini map, then you have objectives on the side, then you have the healing bar, which will tell you how much time you have like for your healing, and well, a lot of details other than that. And most of the things, if you're like very RPG kind of player, then Witcher 3 will allow you to manually unsheath your sword or manually apply blade oils to it, or do a lot of things manually, which the game automatically does that for you if you're not that into RPG. Now Witcher 3 also has a lot of customizations on the HUD, so you can kind of customize your HUD to like match your own taste. For me, I basically turned off all the HUD type in the exploration, but all of the HUD basically appears when I'm in a combat or in a dangerous situation. And that basically strikes a perfect balance between immersion in exploration and immersion in combat, because in combat you obviously need a lot of details, and when you are playing an RPG, you will surely need many details to like be on the edge of the combat. So in the map, what we're gonna do is we are at the Corvobianco vineyard, and we're gonna try to go to the edge of the map, which is I mean a small distance you can say, but this is the first time, so we're gonna try to cover small distances first. So when you first look at the map, you can immediately see that there is a big bridge, then there is a big town, and then there is a small vineyard along with that, and well, it's in the same direction. If you'll notice, when the combat starts, all of the information appears on the screen, on the HUD, and well, it's not annoying then, right? It's not annoying when it appears only in combat, because in combat you need a lot of things. You need to see the health bar, you need to see the stamina bar of the enemy, you need to see your health bar, you need to see your toxicity levels and all. And well, this basically strikes the perfect balance between how much information you want to take in at how much time, like what time exactly. And well, just like that, this interaction was not meant to be in the gameplay loop, right? This was not meant to be a main story kind of thing, which will force player to play this side, but this was based as a side mission or an exploration kind of thing. Games are meant to be not just a checklist, but a fun experience in any way possible. Not all players like to have full immersion in their games, and not all players like to be bombarded with a ton of information while in game. Whichever side you are, there is always a way to strike a perfect balance into your gameplay. Immersion is a mechanic that's not necessary in games. Games can be fun without having much immersion in it. But when you want to portray a great narrative, you will need immersion. With that being said, that's an end to today's topic. I'm gonna try become more immersive with my games, and I hope you do too. This marks the start of a great year, and I wish you all to have a great year ahead. Bye bye.